My car has 105,000 miles on it. It is 10 years old, which I can't believe. And it felt a little bit outdated when it didn't have CarPlay, but I added CarPlay a couple of weeks ago. So I want to show you guys how that works in practice now. But of course, how quickly does it connect? Can you still use your backup camera? Things like that. Let's start there. So we'll bring it back to the parking lot. And I want to show you how quickly it connects as the first thing. So I'm going to turn the car on here. And you'll see that basically within like 10 seconds, it'll connect. I'm just gonna leave my phone in the cup holder. It's wireless. The first time you set up, you do have to do it wired, but you'll see that it turns on, and then I'll show you the rear view camera and how that works. So let me just make sure my Wi-Fi's on my phone. Yep, CarPlay, there we go. And I'm just gonna blur the map, but there you go. CarPlay's on. I can start playing music through here. I could go to Spotify. I can play whatever I want, etc. Then when I go to reverse, let me mute that. It just shows the backup camera like normal. I can back up, make sure nobody's here. And then when I go into drive, you'll see that it automatically goes straight back to CarPlay. So it's really nice. Somebody asked me, can you turn on the front camera? And the answer is yes. But if you click on the front camera button, it's not gonna do anything unless you first switch to the Mercedes system. So to do that, all you need to do is you hold the back button for the menu right here for 2 seconds. So hold that right there, goes to the Mercedes system, and then when I tap on the camera button, it opens my full cameras and I can see that. I can see my seat settings, I can do whatever I want, and then to go back to CarPlay, you just hold that for 2 seconds. Now actually on the road, it is really easy to use. Of course, you can always say, hey Siri, what time is it?
It's 8:59 a.m.
And then that triggers, or if you're playing music or if you are listening to a podcast or something, you can just tap the end phone call button and that actually triggers Siri as well. So super easy to use, it connects to the steering wheel. Volume controls are still controlled on the steering wheel. You can still use everything there. You can still use Distronic, you can still use the screen here. The one thing that I did notice is that when I am in a screen on CarPlay and then I hit back to go back on this menu, it kind of jumps back. So let me show you what that looks like. For example, if I open this app Libby and then I click back on here, it will go back on this menu and it'll go back on CarPlay. Not a big deal, I don't mind it at all, just something to note. The fact that you can activate Siri is really, really nice, and you can switch to the Mercedes screen basically at any time. I don't even have to look. I just hold down the indent, which is the back button right here, and then it goes to my menu. So it just goes to whatever the screen you have is for the Mercedes system, right? So you still have that, and then to go back to CarPlay, you just hold this for 2 seconds, it goes back to CarPlay. The controller works exactly as it should. You can tap left and right to go to the next track. So that's one thing to keep in mind also. You can't tap left and right, you do have to scroll, but that's like most cars that don't have a touchscreen. It's a scroll wheel. I'm gonna mute that. You can still mute with the volume knob, clicking it in, etc. So it works really well. It works for phone calls. I did have to play with the settings a little bit, like changing it between MB audio and the GTA CarPlay kit and iPhone. So that has been slightly finicky. The phone call quality is not as great as I would want, but mostly I wanted CarPlay so that I can control my music and have my maps and have Waze. So check this out. If I said, navigate to Petco Park, just gonna open my Apple Maps, start my navigation, and I'm good to go. So this is just my phone speed. This has nothing to do with the actual CarPlay here. So my phone just has bad 5G on this on-ramp, I guess. Hit go, and then it's gonna give me directions exactly where I am. If I want to use the Distronic the same way that I usually do, I could just tap this down, Distronic turns on, I'm in passive because I'm driving with my foot, etc. You can see it's tracking me. So that's it. That's the quick look at CarPlay. If you have any questions, let me know. I could do an even more in-depth review, but for now, I gotta drive to get this thing an oil change. See you in the next post. Peace.